So just setting stuff up. Uh, okay, it's set up, I think. Okay, I'm gonna send out a tweet. Hey there. I am. I thought it was set up, but it's not. Hey. Okay. Um. So that's set up. I think I'm gonna be alone today because Constantine is at work, and I don't think he's gonna sneak out of work this time. And everybody else is at work. Everybody's at work. I'm the only one who's not at work. Okay. So here we are. How's everybody doing? I'm gonna. I'm waiting until like 8 o'clock to actually start, but I start the stream early so people can join. Hello. There's I mean, obviously there was a big missile strike today, but other than that, there is like shockingly little news. Yeah, we have Canadian tanks now. I think Canada said that they're going to send 4 Canadian leopards, which are different than normal leopards. They're actually weird looking. Well, weird to me because I'm so used to looking at different leopards. Anyway, it's called the leopard 2A4 can. Let's see, it has this like different armor. Yeah, 4 is just a start. You have to keep in mind that how many they get up front matters a lot less than how many they get in the long run. But see, oh, it has a little maple leaf. Look at that. I don't know anything about Swedish leopards. I think they're just normal, to be honest. I don't know. Ah, okay. Anyway, the the Canadian leopard looks a lot like it's like a cross between a leopard 4 and a leopard 6. It's kind of funny looking. Does it look like a 2PL? I can't remember what a 2PL looks like. I thought the 2PL, yeah, it does kind of look like a 2PL. It does kind of look like a 2PL. Okay. Now I have like the button to ban people is very handy. It's very easy for me to just ban people now. But anyways, so the news today, obviously there was a two major missile strikes. The first missile strike, they I'm opening up my little drawing tools. The first missile strike came kind of, they like flew planes this way. That's way too big. And then they fired off some missiles like that. And I think they also fired drones from like here or something. And they fired 24 drones. So the initial missile strike, I believe, was 3 X-22s. And I think some of them hit Dnipro. I think 1 or 2 of them hit Dnipro. I actually don't really know what happened to those missiles. But those missiles, like, their main purpose was to be a distraction for the drone attack. The drone attack came and flew more or less just across the country towards Kyiv. And they fired 24 drones, and all 24 drones were shot down. So, after, like a few hours after that missile attack, the Russians fired a larger missile attack, I think mostly from Russia. I'm not really sure where they launched from, but I believe they came like this way, and they hit all sorts of different targets around Ukraine. They fired an amount of missiles that I actually have written down in one of these tabs that I'm saving. Here we go. I'm just going to translate this to English. See, they fired 49 total cruise missiles today. 56 total weapons were used. Beyond the cruise missiles, they also fired ballistic missiles. And I think the Kinzhal, which is also a ballistic missile. But anyway, so they fired 49 missiles. A whole bunch of them were shot down. I think 86% of them were shot down or something like that. And 20 of them were shot down around Kyiv. One of the shot down missiles landed on a person and he died, which is unfortunate. But from what I understand, one of the ballistic missiles hit this power station that is north of Kyiv. I might be wrong about that, but I believe it hit around here and damaged some of the electrical infrastructure there. Other than that, Kyiv shot down a number of drones. I can't remember the exact number. There are 24 total drones, but a bunch of them are shot down before they got to Kyiv. But they shot down a certain number of drones and 20 missiles, and I believe they got hit by 2 ballistic missiles. Vinnytsia shot down a bunch of missiles as well. And Zaporizhia got hit by several S-300s. Targeting the electrical infrastructure. So, I don't have all of the Russian attacks marked, but there were 2 the 2 major strikes were in Odessa, where they took out 2 significant electrical substations and de-energized a large part of Odessa. Not only taking out the electricity, but also taking out water and other important things like that, which rely on electricity. So that was their major missile strike today. They killed, I believe, 12 people total. And they took out 2 significant electrical substations and maybe damaged a third electrical infrastructure facility. And they also damaged another electrical infrastructure facility, but these were with S-300s, so it doesn't really count. It's kind of a different sort of attack. I believe I have video of, oh, this is a photograph today, I believe it's from today, of the Ukrainian anti-aircraft crew just chilling. I like how you see like the beautiful weather and then your radar. That's kind of cool. But I think one of these videos is oops, wrong button. This is the results of one of the missile strikes today. They basically hit a house where a disabled woman lived, and she died. She was torn to pieces. But this is the result of one of their missiles. So you can tell it hit a very important military target. So that is the missile news for the missile strike. I think, relatively speaking, you could say the missile strike was a failure. It achieved almost nothing. They used a significant amount of their resources, as I showed before. They have the remaining missiles. They have around 143 more cruise missiles, 325 other guided missiles, 157 X-22s and X-32s, and 52 more Kinzels. So an attack of this scale, where they fired 49 total missiles, 49 total cruise missiles, they only have 143 left, and they're manufacturing maybe 40 to 50 a month. So yeah, the Kinzel is, it's just basically an air launched Iskander. It's really, it's not anything special. It does damage, obviously. It's as bad as a ballistic missile. It's not like a super weapon, but it is a deadly weapon nonetheless. It can hit targets and do a lot of damage, and they don't have that many of them. I do have a feeling that they have around 50 of these missiles because they want to have around 50 of these missiles. Every time they shoot them, they manufacture more, but they don't seem to manufacture more when they don't shoot them. So I think this is just the number of missiles they want to have. Yeah, and reading through this text a little bit, they have significantly dropped the number of missiles they fire, but they're keeping their cadence of firing once every 11 to 14 days. The only exception is they skipped firing on Christmas so that they could fire, skipped firing on like December 26th so that they could fire on New Year's. So that was the only time that they skipped their cadence, and that was obviously intentional. And if they fire 50 missiles per month, which is, this month they fired, I think, 62. So if they fire 50 a month, they can do that pretty much indefinitely. So we're kind of getting to the point where they've run out of their stockpile, and we're getting into the territory where they're firing them as they build them, more or less. They might be able to do, 2-3 more major attacks, but for the most part, they might only fire 50 a month, maybe 60 a month, but they only have 143 in there. So they could probably fire 60 a month for a year or something like that. so that's kind of the missile news. There's also less important missile news that they hit Kupiansk with an S-300. I don't actually know where, but right here they hit a Ukrainian S-300 with an Iskander, and there's a video of it which I have somewhere. I wish I could like label these tabs instead of going. Oh, here it is. So this is the video of the Ukrainian S-300 exploding, which is unfortunate, but I guess that's what happens in a war. There's not much you could do about it. So that's the general missile news. I guess we could talk about the Ukrainian missiles. There's Ukraine took out, I don't actually know where, but today in Vodyana, Ukraine took out a ammo depot. They destroyed, I can't remember what these were. I think this was an ammo depot here, and I think this other one was a Chechen base or something. I can't remember, but they took out 2 precision strikes there. One's an ammo depot, and in Kopani they took out I think a fuel depot. It was like a fuel and lubricant depot. Then in Bilmak they shot something. I don't actually know what or where, but they shot out something in Bilmak, and that's all the missile news. No more missile news. Okay. Regarding artillery strikes, the Russians are still shooting all of the areas of Chunayev and Sumy that are on the border. They shot 40 towns today. I only know of like a handful of them, but they shot like another 30 towns in this Chernayev Sumy area. The interesting part is that they are not shooting really anything on the Belarus side of Chernayev. They're only shooting the Russian side, which is kind of interesting to me. And it's kind of obvious too, because Russia doesn't really want to include Belarus in the war, because they're kind of terrified that if they include Belarus, Lukashenko could get overthrown, and that would be bad for Russia. Although it'd probably be good for everybody else, but so they're trying to keep Belarus out of it as much as they can. So they're mostly shooting from the Russian side, and the same. They're shooting all these border towns in Kharkiv as well. Speaking of Lancet, if you want to talk about Lancet, there was news today that Italy is contemplating sending heroes to Ukraine. A hero is the weapon that I believe the Lancet is a cheap knockoff of. The hero is made by Uvision, or Uvision. I don't know how to say that, but I just say Uvision. But it's the Hero 30. It's kind of like a Switchblade and kind of like a Lancet. It is a guided drone that you fire out of a tube like a mortar. It has a total weight of 7.8 kilograms. Its warhead is 1/2 of a kilogram, and its range is 15 kilometers with a 30-minute endurance. I have a little video made by Uvision showing this drone. I'm going to mute myself and then play the audio from the video.
With Uvision, the game changes. A smart loitering system launches, arrives at its destination, loiters above the target, waits for the right moment to strike. Result, mission successful. The battlefield game is changing. Timing is everything. To deal with elusive, time-sensitive targets and multi-dimensional threats in complex, asymmetric conflicts, a new paradigm is a must. The Hero family, U-Vision's array of game-changing lethal loitering munition systems, presents a new approach to meet the ever-evolving challenges of today's battlefield using Hero. With its innovative multi-directional maneuvering capacity, combines both surveillance and attack capabilities in one ultra-smart semi-autonomous system, including transfer of control between echelons. The U-Vision Hero family offers a wide range of systems for deployment from air, land, and sea, ranging up to 250 kilometers with different types of warheads, fuses, and EO/IR payloads. The Hero family covers the entire spectrum from tactical to strategic needs. The U-Vision Hero family provides any kind of combat unit with firepower and accuracy that until now was reserved only for higher operational echelons. Maximum efficiency is achieved through embedded abort capability, automatic re-entry into the loitering mode, target re-engagement, or parachuted return to recovery. Lethal and precise, lightweight and intuitive, multi-operational platform, air, land, and sea, suitable for all military echelons. U-Vision Hero, your battlefield game changer.
Okay, so the thing about the Hero is that it's made in Israel, and getting if Italy can get, or anyone really, if anyone can get Israel to support Ukraine by sending a Hero, the Hero 30 is kind of a gimmick. Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's a scout drone that can blow up. You can retrieve it and shoot it again if you want. Obviously if you don't blow it up, but you can retrieve it and shoot another one if you shoot it again by recharging the battery. So it's like a Mavic drone or whatever. So it has a really good camera, but the Hero 30 is kind of a gimmick. The big deal is the other heroes, like these bigger boys. Some of them carry really big warheads. They can carry like javelin warheads and even larger than that. They can easily take out tanks. They can take out basically anything on the battlefield. Another thing about the Hero is that it is exceptionally accurate. It can shoot through the window of a moving truck. Like, these are good drones. These are really good drones. So if Israel can agree to send a Hero 30, which is kind of a gimmick, like, it's not a huge deal. This will not really change the war that much. If you can get them to agree to this, maybe you can warm them up to agreeing to the bigger heroes that could actually make a giant difference in the war. So that is the news from Italy, that they are trying to send heroes. Apparently, I mean, it's kind of a rumor. I don't know if it's confirmed, but they're apparently trying to send heroes. Because there was a mystery person bought a bunch of heroes, and nobody really knows who that mystery person was. Some people think it might be Ukraine. It could be that Israel has already agreed to give them heroes. I mean, we don't know. Like, this is all the backroom stuff that we don't really have much information about until things actually happen. And Israel is the type of country that they probably wouldn't announce anything one way or the other. Well, they might say no publicly, but I don't think they would say yes publicly. So it could be that the only way we find out there's heroes is if somehow a video of one emerges, or if like Russians find parts and post photographs or something like that. Well, anyway, so that is the Lancet. I'm pretty sure the Lancet is a cheap knockoff of a hero. They kind of said like, wow, the hero's pretty cool, let's make our own, and that's a Lancet. But anyways, regarding other Battlefield news, I don't really know much of what's going on in this northern part near Kupiansk. I mean, they hit by an S-300. There's general fighting. Ukraine is fighting in Kuzmivka. Unfortunately, Konstantin isn't here to give us his update from there. Russia is trying to push Ukraine away from Kolomyklivka. I can't say this name. Anyway, you know what town I'm talking about. Ukraine is pushing towards Plushanka, where Russia released a video yesterday of Ukrainians here and here. So Ukrainians were in both of these positions, moving west. Well, they kind of moved kind of here-ish. They got hit by artillery and then kind of withdrew. And then similarly, they kind of pushed this way, got hit by artillery and then withdrew. So this area all seems like a gray zone, which is why I've changed it to a gray zone. Russia is attacking out of Chernopopivka. I don't know any actual information about this other than just the generic news. And the same goes for the Kremenna. There's really just very little news from this area today, other than it's just kind of status quo. So I'm going to turn off the artillery markers because they're in the way. Okay. They're the same sort of fighting around Bilohorivka and Verkno-Kamyanska and Sperna, and all these areas are all the same level of fighting. This forest strip, Russia has probably cleared this entire forest strip around Bilohorivka, the southern Bilohorivka. But that doesn't really matter very much in the grand scheme of things. Fighting around Rozdolivka, fighting around Blahodatny and Krasnohora. Okay, so all of that's pretty much status quo. Nothing really happened. Near Pidhoradna, there is talk, although it's unconfirmed, but there's talk that Ukraine did a counterattack kind of here. I've talked to people who claim Ukraine controls like this area now. So it's kind of like here that they took that back. They also say that Russia is attacking, or Wagner is attacking to take it back again. That's not confirmed, which is why I haven't updated my map. But I've had 3 different people, all of them are in different battalions, all told me basically the same story, so I'm inclined to believe it, but I haven't seen solid proof. Speaking of Bakhmut, I have this video. I have to open it. Another thing. Okay. This is really hard to show. Okay, we're just going to show it this way. This video of Bakhmut. This was actually filmed by a friend of mine. I actually have the full video, but I can't really show it to you. But this was filmed by a friend of mine, and you can see this is the current state of Bakhmut. It's kind of intense, not a great situation, but what can you do? So the rest of the situation around Bakhmut, from what I understand, nothing really happened today. Near Klishchiivka, Wagner is pushing northwest into this kind of four-strip area that is, it's here. I don't know how to describe this. It's like halfway between these two towns. But anyway, they're pushing right here. Other than that, Wagner made no progress today that I'm aware of. Everything stayed more or less the same. Yeah, we'll get to Pavlivka and Vuhledar in a second, but I'm just working my way there. There really isn't that much news today, so I'm just kind of going through it. Near New York. New York will very likely become a significant focal point of the Russian attack in the near future. By near future, I mean maybe April or something. I don't know, maybe sooner. But New York is going to become a major focus of attack. Right now, it's getting absolutely hammered with artillery. Pretty much every day. Just tons of artillery. Right now, Russia doesn't really have the resources to attack, but they're probably going to eventually move kind of this way and then like that into New York. I imagine that is kind of their plan. And then at the same time, they might also try to push, into Torsk that way. But that isn't now. That is to come in the future, 2 or 3 months from now, maybe. Fighting near Novobakhmutivka, Krasnohorivka, Vodiana, all is more or less status quo. Nothing changed today. Fighting in Marinka still, and then down to Vuhledar, which is really the most important thing that's happening right now. Last stream, I talked about how Russia's main focus was to take like this area, and depending on who you talk to, they kind of have already. I think this northern part is contested. Russians claim that they control it, obviously, but I think it's contested. I don't think they actually do control it. And Russians also claim that they've kind of taken this area, which I don't know if that's true. I haven't seen actual evidence of that. So, but more or less, the Russians say that they control this. I think it's all contested. There are some videos that have come out of this today. Let me find them. Where did I put it? Oh, I remember where I put it now. I see 2 tanks destroyed. And a BMP destroyed. So that's the video from Vuhledar. I didn't like geolocate it, but it's like here somewhere. So the main point about Vuhledar is that it is okay. It's on a hill. You can see the hill, I hope, in this video. Basically, this hill overlooks Pavlivka, and there are other high points beyond this hill, like this is like slag or something, I don't know, but Ukraine is kind of okay with giving up land here, and I'll tell you why. So the people in this attack that Russia is using are actual Russian soldiers. These are not like Wagner, and these are actually elite units as well. These are like elite Marines mostly, and the casualties that Russia is sustaining in this area actually very much matter to the Russian war machine. Whereas in like Bakhmut, the casualties they take, Russia doesn't care. There's like convicts and people they don't really care about. But in this attack on Vuhledar, Russia cares a lot about these soldiers. So Ukraine is kind of okay with letting Russia move through this area as long as they get to rain artillery and Stugnas on them and blow them up from on top of the hill. So that's kind of what's happening right now, where Ukraine has enough they have enough reserve forces and reinforcements in this general area, like all around here, that they're not actually scared of a Russian breakthrough. From what I can tell, they don't, like, there's no fear of Russia taking Vuhledar and then just running with it. They're more like they're kind of, their strategy right now is to just kick Russia in the teeth and make them bleed out these elite forces, and with the idea that if they kill enough Russians, they'll just retreat the way that they have retreated from Pavlivka. Because as of this moment right now, you could say Russia controls Pavlivka. But in reality, if Russia were to just stay where they are, they would be destroyed and forced to pull out of Pavlivka. That's why I have it as contested still. So this area is probably technically under Russian control, but it's not sustainable control. It's not control that they can keep in the long run. Even if they sat there and did nothing for a week, they would get massacred. So that's why I have it contested. Other people have this under Russian control, and I can understand why they do. But that's kind of what is going on in Vuhledar right now. Russia is committing elite troops to an attack where they're taking high casualties. Yeah, and really the point of that, the real value of this hill is that you can take these Stugnas and just put them everywhere and they can see over the terrain. So you just have these, laser guided missiles just raining down on anything that tries to cross these wide open fields. And you can see over the houses and the trees and stuff because you're just high enough to be able to see it. And the Stugna is really hard to kill because you put the missile launcher in one place and you sit like 50 meters away or whatever. Like you sit really far away from the missile launcher and guide it, because it has like a little computer, you know, so you can shoot from. So you're really far from the Stugna, so they can't hit you. And the Stugna is really hard to see because it's just like a little piece of metal. It doesn't have like a thermal signature. It doesn't have people next to it. So they're just really, it's kind of a deadly situation. So that's kind of the Vuhledar area. Moving on from there, there's some fighting in the Vlika Novosilka area, some fighting in Novopil. This is all like very low level fighting. Like it's not intense at all. Like it's barely worth noting. The same with Poltavka. Russia did a minor at best attack from Marfapil like yesterday and got destroyed. Ukraine took out this farm in Stepanivka, which is right next to Marfapil, and which is itself right next to Hulepole. But this farm right here got just absolutely trashed by Ukrainian artillery. It's kind of funny. There is this kind of building here. I don't really know what that is, but I think the Russians were using it for something or other, and it just got wrecked. It got hit by like 3 direct hits from artillery. The heaviest fighting in the south is around Dorozhenyanka, where Ukraine is, their goal is to retake Dorozhenyanka after they lost it recently. And the other strongest fighting is near Nesteryanka, where Russia wants to move into Novoandrivka. There's also minor fighting in Stepove and in the Sherbakis, both of them. Do I have a clip of the shelling? I could probably find it if you really want it. Let me see if I can find it really quickly. I can't find the video quickly, but I can find this quickly. This is a clip from the video. The best I got, I'm sorry. But you could see like this right here is that little house I was talking about. That it got like 3 direct hits, but this whole farm just got totally wrecked by Ukrainian artillery. So yeah, that's more or less the news today. I think I have some other things to talk about that I can't remember at the moment. Let me go through. We did that. We did that. Oh, I can't remember what this is. Oh yeah, this is just pictures of damage that the Russians did today in Zaporizhia. Yeah, this is just like S-300 hits, just taking out civilians for no reason. And oh, this apparently put this in English. The serial production of the Boden SPG has been financed, apparently. So Ukraine is apparently trying to build their own self-propelled guns, which would be cool. So yeah, that's kind of the the news I got. I don't know if anybody has any questions or anything. Today was not a super exciting day outside of the missile strike, I guess. Which, I don't know. To me personally, the missile strikes are just kind of sad and depressing. I don't know, but when you think about the tanks that are being given, you have to try to think of it from the perspective of like, let's say that you have a certain number of people defending a position, right? And I don't know, let's just whatever. Say you have a certain number of people defending a position, and you can put all those people in a trench, right? And if they're in a trench, then they get shot at by artillery, and that's not fun. Whereas if you put them in an armored vehicle, it's harder to hit them with artillery, right? So you can obviously hit an armored vehicle with artillery, and it's probably the way most armored vehicles get destroyed, but it's much harder because they move. So if you have, 1,000 people defending a position, and you put 1,000 of them in a trench, then all the Russians have to do is shoot the trench. Whereas if you put, 900 of them in a trench and 100 of them in armored vehicles, suddenly that position is more mobile, and those 100 guys are no longer those easy targets, so they can move from one place to another. Try to think of it in that sort of perspective. So these armored vehicles actually make a really big difference, even when you don't count like armored combat. Like, just ignore armored combat, ignore attacking. Just in terms of defending a position, they make a really big difference. And it's not only the firepower, it's also just the physical armor with its mobility makes a big difference. Are Russians terrified about Svatove? I don't know. Svatove. Attacking the north of Svatove is difficult because of the terrain, because there's all of these hills. If you just look at this map, this terrain feature map thing, each of these hills, the backside of the hill is a defensive position for the Russians. They're not defending the front of the hill, they're defending the back of the hill. So if you just count, it's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, like each of these is a defensive position. So, and then as you get closer, these hills turn into channels where you can only really attack through these channels, because you can't bring heavy equipment over the hill. So not only is each of these a defensive position, but also it limits the directions that Ukraine can attack. So attacking this way is difficult. That's why Ukraine is trying to take Kremenna. They're trying to move through the south up. Well, the casualties that the Russians are taking defending Svatove are insane. They lost an entire battalion, defending Novoselivska. They lost the entire battalion, and Ukraine took the town. Now they have another battalion, a completely different battalion, defending Kuzymivka, and they're getting massacred. They could end up losing 2 battalions. Battalions in 2 towns. And these towns are tiny. Like, we're not talking, we're not losing a battalion in Soledar. We're not losing a battalion in Bakhmut. That would at least make some sense. They lost a battalion in Novoselivska. It's crazy. So, I mean, there's videos of a single artillery shell killing like 30 Russians in Novoselivska. Like, they're walking along this like tree line right here, and a shell landed and the whole platoon died. Like, that's the sort of casualties we're talking about. The Russians are keeping the reinforcements in these 2 towns here that they're just east, so these are their operational reserves, I guess you could say, that they, whenever a battalion gets massacred, they get pulled out, and a new battalion gets sent in to get massacred. So yeah, I can see that they are absolutely taking massive casualties, and a lot of people say, "Oh, Ukraine's taking casualties." Like, yeah, Ukraine is taking casualties, but Ukraine isn't losing 30 guys to a single artillery shell. Ukraine isn't losing, like 4 BMPs. But we showed a video. I don't remember, like, if you remember, like 2 weeks ago, I think we showed a video of 2 BMPs getting killed by 1 artillery shell. I mean, this is not, that sort of stuff isn't, I mean, I'm sure it might happen occasionally to Ukraine, but that's not like a daily occurrence for Ukraine. That's like a daily occurrence for Russia. Okay. So like the difference in casualties is very large. It's very large. Like, I mean, Konstantin is friends with people who have died attacking Kuzamivka. Like, just being like, that's just reality. Like, people that, you talk to like every day and just have like a friendly relationship with gets killed there. Like, that's a war for you, but the Ukrainian casualties are nowhere close to the Russian casualties. Like, it's nowhere close. It's a bloodbath for Russia. And Konstantin talks about Kuzamivka and Novoselivska the most because he knows people who are fighting there. We don't really know people who are fighting in these towns. But these towns are probably very similar. Like, it's probably the same situation. Like, I find it really difficult to believe that it's different. And the same is probably true for Plashanka, where we see that Ukraine is getting really close to Plashanka in videos published by the Russians. And the same is, I mean, we get news from south of Kremena. Like, we know people there too, and it's a bloodbath there for the Russians. Like, and also we know people in Bakhmut. The people in Bakhmut it's a bloodbath for the Russians. Like, one guy I was talking to, he said that on the street he was on, like every 2 meters was a dead Russian all the way down the street. Like, just if you walk down the street, like every 2 or 3 steps, it was a dead Russian. So Russia is taking a lot of casualties, a lot. Regarding the vehicle losses for Russia, I've just been kind of thinking about the math behind some of these attacks, because I had a stat from Vodiana where if you look at this map, and I'm just going to circle just It's the area that I'm talking about. Here. Just that area. I saw a video where in just this circled area, Russia lost 17 armored vehicles in one day. 17. And the crazy thing is that the same day, I don't actually know where, but the same day, their attack in, I think it was near Sherbaki, they lost 15 armored vehicles in the same day. So in one day, in 2 attacks on 2 tiny towns that don't even matter, they lost over 30 armored vehicles. Over 30. It's crazy. How do, like, I don't care how many armored vehicles you have. Like, they say that, like, Russia has, what, 14,000? What's 14,000 divided by 30? That's 466. Just think about it. These are 2 attacks on tiny towns. Just think about the bigger attacks. Think about, like, the attacks that they did on Kyiv, which were much, much bigger. The attacks on Chernihiv, which were much bigger, and Sumy, which were much, much bigger. All of the fighting in Kherson, which was much bigger. And they're losing just 30 vehicles in 2 tiny attacks in 2 tiny towns. So how long can they sustain these losses? They can't sustain them forever. There is a limit. They're going to run out of stuff. Like, it's just math. At some point, math takes over. The HIMARS strikes in Kremena, if I remember correctly, one of them was like here at the fire station. It was like there somewhere, and the other one was like over here in a music school or whatever. The music school no longer exists. I don't know any information about how many casualties there were. I have no idea. The same with the fire station. I don't know how many casualties there were. I mean, obviously, Russia says there was 0. They said both were, like, abandoned or whatever. And Ukraine, I haven't even seen Ukraine throw out a number. So I have no clue how many casualties there were. So yeah, I was talking to a Ukrainian officer, and they said something that's kind of funny. They said all of the best soldiers in this war are Ukrainian for both sides. All the best Russian soldiers are Ukrainians, and all the best Ukrainian soldiers are Ukrainians. There's one other piece of information that I guess is worth talking about, even though I don't really know much about it, and it also doesn't really matter. But just in case you haven't heard about it, Prigozhin today, well, yesterday, Wagner picked a fight with Igor, our terrorist friend, and Igor kind of responded saying, I don't want to fight you. and today, Prigozhin posted kind of an insulting thing to Igor, saying, if you think you're so tough, why don't you join Wagner and we'll make you a commander of an assault group. And Igor basically said, we'll talk about it if you want to be professional, but no thanks right now, I guess. So the reason this is worth bringing up is that there's some thought, although I think this might be like a conspiracy theory, but there's some thought that the idea to put Igor in Wagner and then do your best to kill him off is a way to get rid of Igor, because his anti-Putin stance is kind of annoying Putin. But I kind of think that's a conspiracy theory. But if you haven't read any news today, I guess it's worth bringing up, because it's just the thing that happened. Oh yeah, the counterattack, and whether, I don't actually know if it happened, but the counterattack would have been like that, or like that, something. It's in this area of Bakhmut. I have not been able to find confirmation on this attack, but basically the claim is that Ukraine took that back. I'm still trying to find confirmation. Okay, so I don't really know what else to say. If any of you have a question, you can ask it. Otherwise, I guess I'm done. Oh, the next defensive line after Bakhmut would be like that. It's this oops. I guess I'll look at it in 3D because it's more obvious that way. If you see, there's a ridge. There's like a ridge line that goes through Chasiv Yar, and it goes north and south. I don't know if you see that, but there's a ridge line that goes through Chasiv Yar, like north and south, like this. And this would be the natural defensive barrier. The main weakness of this defense is New York. So, to break through this defense, you would have to go through New York. That's why I say New York will very likely be a focus of Russia in the near future. Seversk is heavily defended. Right now, Ukraine has very little fear of losing Seversk. There's like tons of defenses. There's tons and tons and tons of defenses. So, and Chasiv Yar is another thing where there's just lots and lots of defenses. And one of the main benefits of Chasiv Yar is that you can put your forces on this side of the ridge and fire artillery over it, and the Russian counter battery radar cannot pick it up as easily or as accurately. So you can shoot the Russians better than the Russians can shoot you, which is a significant advantage. The defense of Seversk, it will be defended. I very, very, very much doubt Ukraine would withdraw from Seversk unless something like really bad happened. But the Seversk is designed to be defended. They've been building defenses here for like ever since they got here. Like when I have it marked on the map when that happened. Like oh, so that's like June. So yeah, they've been building defenses here since June. Yeah. But anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say today. Anything interesting on the 24th of February? Why would oh, I don't know. Maybe. I really don't know. I don't the it seems that Putin would be the one who would do something. I don't know. The 24th is the day the war started. That's why. Of JDAM? No, I don't know of any JDAM usage. You have to keep in mind that JDAM is most useful when you're flying really high up, and flying really high up is really dangerous. I think a JDAM's range is 7 times your height with some factor for speed. I think holding the speed constant at 7 times your height or something like that. But anyways, that's all I have to say today. Thank you for coming. There will be another stream on Tuesday. There might actually be a stream before Tuesday, if I get a guest. But thank you for coming. I hope you found it valuable. See you next time.